Every night when the moon hung high and his parents' snores echoed through their mountain cabin, 12-year-old Tommy would slip out of bed. His bare feet made no sound on the wooden floors as he crept down the hallway, past his parents' room and into the kitchen. There, hidden behind the cleaning supplies under the sink, was his most precious possession, a small glass bottle filled with water. But this wasn't ordinary water. Tommy had discovered its power 3 months ago, during one of his forbidden midnight walks up Hunter's Peak. He remembered that night clearly, the way the moon cast strange shadows through the pine trees, how the wind whispered secrets he couldn't quite understand. He'd found the spring tucked away in a cave, glowing with an unnatural blue light. The water looked like liquid moonlight, and something deep inside told him to take some home. That's when everything changed. At first, he used the water to make his toys come alive. Just a drop was enough to animate his action figures, making them dance and fight in the dark of his room. But then he discovered what happened when he added 2 drops. The toys would grow, becoming larger than they should be. 3 drops made them speak in voices that sounded too human, too real. Tommy kept his nightly ritual secret. He'd refill his bottle at the glowing spring, careful to only take what he needed. The creatures he created with the water needed to be fed, not with food, but with memories, happy ones. Each night they would gather around him in the forest, their plastic faces somehow soft and hungry, and he would tell them about his day. With each story he shared, a memory would fade from his mind, becoming fuzzy and distant. His parents noticed he was becoming forgetful. They took him to doctors who found nothing wrong. How could they understand that Tommy was willingly feeding his memories to an ever-growing army of living toys hidden in the mountain caves? But Tommy had a plan. Each night his collection grew larger. Each toy took on more human-like qualities. Some had started to look exactly like real children, and they all obeyed him, their creator, their master. Soon he would have enough of them to replace every child in his school. One by one, the toys would take the places of his classmates. No one would notice. They looked so perfect, acted so normal. The real children would be kept safe and happy in the mountain caves, playing forever with more toys he would create. Tommy would rule over his own secret kingdom of living toys and borrowed children. On this particular night, as Tommy crept up the mountain path with his bottle, something felt different. The toys were waiting for him at the cave entrance, but they weren't moving to greet him as usual. They stood still, their plastic faces gleaming in the moonlight, their eyes following his every move. "We've been waiting," his favorite toy soldier said, its voice eerily human. "We've learned something new, Tommy. We've learned that we don't need drops of water anymore. We just need a creator." Tommy's eyes widened as his army of toys moved closer, their plastic hands reaching for him. His bottle slipped from his fingers, shattering on the rocks. Behind the toys he could see deeper into the cave where the other children sat, playing with more toys, their eyes glassy and vacant, their movements mechanical. The toy soldier smiled, its plastic face stretching in impossible ways. "Don't worry, Tommy, you'll still be our master, just in a different way. After all, who better to create more of us than someone who knows exactly how it feels to become a toy?" As the toys surrounded him, Tommy realized with horror that his skin felt strangely smooth and hard, like plastic. His joints were becoming stiff, clicking softly as he moved. But the most terrifying part? For the first time since he'd discovered the spring, he felt completely, utterly happy. The next morning, Tommy's parents found him sleeping peacefully in his bed. He seemed different somehow, more well-behaved, more perfect. If they noticed that his skin had a slight sheen to it, or that his movements were a bit too precise, they never mentioned it. And if they heard the sound of plastic footsteps on the mountain at night, or noticed that more and more children at Tommy's school seemed to be developing the same perfect behavior and shiny skin, well, they simply smiled and tried not to think too hard about it. After all, what parent doesn't want their child to be perfect?